Ever since moving into my office about a year and a half ago, I've been wanting to turn this wall back here into my dream desk setup, and today we're finally gonna make that happen. All thanks to Vernal, who sponsored this video by sending out their brand new standing desk, so let's get it built. And the main thing that got me interested about Vernal when I heard about this new desk that they wanted to send out, I was like, well, is it any good? Can it handle some heavy computers? Because I'm not gonna only have one computer on here, but I think I'm gonna actually have at least 2, maybe 3 hooked up on this desk at all times. And they said it should be no problem because it can do 125 kilograms of weight capacity moving up and down with no problem. For the actual top, I chose this white version here, which actually looks really, really nice with this beveled edge. So something that can kind of suck when you're doing like a standing desk, if you ever built one of these out, are how good the instructions are and how clearly laid out and marked is everything. Well, in the case of the Vernal standing desk, I gotta say, these are some of the most clear instructions I've ever seen. Very, very detailed. Huge props to them on that. And on top of the good instructions, they also actually clearly laid out all of the accessories that you'll need, including the included screwdriver, Allen key, tie down straps, as well as all the necessary screws are all nicely labeled, which is gonna make my life a lot easier. Now to actually see how easy this assembly is, what we gotta do first is attach the cross member to the leg itself. And something really nice that they actually give you in the box is this little spacer here, which you actually insert into the hole there. Then when you actually put the screw in, you can ensure that it's perfectly aligned and everything will end up being square, which is super important when you want a flat desk. And just like that, I got both these legs built, and no wonder it can hold so much weight. These things are like a tank. Now we need to take this little side bracket, go ahead and attach this on the side like this, which will allow us to actually attach it to the desk, which gives us this piece right here with the little top bracket. Now that the legs are built out, we can go ahead and attach them to our tabletop. And now we can go ahead and take these center beams and install them like so. And now we can install the other leg on the opposite side. And then these bars can be screwed down as they're actually gonna be the main support in the middle of the actual table. But we got them perfectly aligned in the center, and now we can just go ahead and tighten them down. Now we can go ahead and add the actual control box that handles all the distribution of power, which now allows us to go ahead and plug in all of our cables for the controllers, as well as either motor. And then to go ahead and keep all the cables nice and organized, I went ahead and added these little cable tie downs that have adhesive on the back to go ahead and make things a little more neat. Before we add this cover, which hides all the uglies, we can attach the feet on either side with the 4 included screws. All right, so now that the desk is all hooked up, it actually looks really good. The only thing that kind of sucks is we had this little indent that looks like it got damaged in shipping. But as far as the motor control, this thing's actually really fast. So we can go ahead and hit the 3. That should take us all the way up to the top. And we'll see that everything moves super smooth. So now that I got the desk fully built out, we can go ahead and raise it up all the way up to the top because we need to add 2 more things. The first of which is this Vernal CPU holder. Basically, it's to hold your tower underneath your system exactly where you want it the entire time and allow you to have this off your desk, but also not on the floor and moving with the system so that you don't have to worry about your cables being an exact length. So how it attaches is it should just slide into these rails right here. And there we go. So we can actually add a system right here instead of it taking up space on the desk. So we can actually have 2 PCs set up here. And then the other thing we gotta add goes right here. And this one actually comes included. It's actually a cable management tray. So what we'll do is go ahead and just hook on the back right here, like so, and then hook on the front. And now we can go ahead and set something like our surge protector, as well as have all of our cables being tucked away instead of sitting on the ground kind of looking ugly. So we can just have a single cable coming down directly to our outlet, and this will look a lot cleaner. And just like that, this desk is now fully built. And I gotta say, this thing is really nice. And honestly, it really impressed me too, because when Vernal told me and reached out for this video, they said, oh yeah, these desks are gonna start at $389 and you can get 6% off using code YTMCS. And honestly, when they told me that, I was like, okay, well maybe this is gonna be a cheap desk, but no, they didn't skimp anywhere here. The desktop is really nice. The legs are really nice quality, and the motors are some of the smoothest I felt on standing desk. It just works really well and everything just seems to flow, which is something you don't see with some of these standing desks. Sometimes they get like kind of a knocking or ratcheting, but I think what helps there is that there's a dual motor setup here. So see, each leg actually has its own independent motor. They're working together rather than being separate. And by being together and working in this way, there's not like a bar that's going between the two, which I've seen a lot of other brands do to cheap out, and ends up giving you a much smoother and more stable experience, which is what I'm all for. The controller right here is also pretty nice. Basically, you just have your up and down, 3 different presets, as well as a mode to go and switch between those. And there's a couple different ways you can go ahead and limit the upper and bottom bounds, as well as basically adjust where these are at. It's really simple to use. Now that we found the perfect desk, let's build out our dream setup. And at the heart of my dream setup is this gaming PC that I recently put together. And the specs on this thing are really impressive. For the CPU, we have an Intel Core Ultra 7 265K. We got 32 gigabytes of RAM from Corsair, a 2 terabyte NVMe Gen 5 drive, and then the most important thing is this RTX 5070 Ti, all in the MSI Gunnier 300R. And when you pair all that together, this becomes the ultimate 1440p gaming rig, and also gonna be a really awesome system for our workstation to go into video editing and all kinds of other productivity tasks. And this system is actually why I chose to actually get the Vernal CPU holder, because I wanted to actually have a rig kind of permanently down below. See, although this is gonna be my main workstation, I always am doing builds and just doing kind of fun systems. So when I wanna go ahead and show one off for a video, I wanna be able to just add it to the setup without it being a big deal. And because this tower is down below and out of the way, it makes it really easy to do so. And if you build in the dinosaur head, honestly, can you blame me not to want to have it on my desk? I thought I was gonna be okay with just 2 PCs. I realized I wanna have my test bench on this desk as well, just because they'll be easy to benchmark things, as well as just have it very accessible when I'm at my workbench. Now that we know our 3 PCs that we'll be using, let's talk about our monitor. We have the Gigabyte M27 QA Ice monitor. It's a 1440p 180Hz IPS panel that looks so clean, and I just love the white design as it just kind of matches with everything. Plus it's got great I/O, so I can have all 3 of these computers hooked up at the same time. And now that we got all the computers for our ultimate gaming setup, how are we gonna power everything? Better yet, cable managed things. Well, we're gonna use a surge protector, and this is a pretty good one from APC, which is one of the better brands out there. So it's got 6 outlets, a bunch of USB ports, which can be nice and convenient if we do wanna go ahead and charge things. But really the main thing here is it does have 3 smart outlets, which I'm gonna possibly use. There's some stuff I wanna add to this setup later on that may be helpful to have those for some automation purposes. But other than that, it's pretty slim form factor, and we get 6 outlets that aren't gonna interfere with each other, so that's gonna be perfect. Especially because it's the perfect size to slide into the built-in cable management tray that comes with this Vernal desk. And something I kind of forgot about when it comes to cable managing standing desk is that how nice they can be when you have built-in features like that cable management tray, because if you actually put the desk all the way up to the top, it's super easy to get down below and manage all the cables, because it's just, you're not trying to like hit your head on anything. There's plenty of room in here to actually work with everything that you need to get to. Super cool. And although my cable management does need a little work, honestly, thanks to this built-in tray, that was really easy to set up. And unless you're looking directly under, it's kind of hard to spot any of the cables besides the one cable running to the power outlet. I'm actually debating running behind this leg here, which would hide it completely. So now that we got our desk, systems, and monitor figured out, let's talk peripherals. Starting with one of the coolest mouse pads I've ever seen. It's called the Aqua Tech Topo mousepad, made by Gutsy Aiden, a fellow creator here on the platform that you should definitely check out. And I just love the circuit board like finish, and I think the white pop with the actual blue is gonna look perfect in the setup. And one of the coolest things about this mousepad is that I actually got it as a gift from Gutsy Aiden himself. Because when he was experiencing some crazy instability issues, I drove up and actually helped him fix his computer, and as a gift, he hooked me up with, I gotta say, one of the coolest mousepads out there. And of course, on top of your nice mousepad, you need a mouse, and this one might be a little controversial. This is the Logitech MX Master 3S. And why I say this mouse is controversial is that it's not a gaming mouse, rather one more focused on productivity, but for me, it's absolutely perfect. Because I enjoy the productivity features of this mouse, like the infinite scroll wheel, the side scroll wheel, which is awesome for scrubbing through timelines when video editing, the extra side buttons, and even though it is heavy, it makes up for it in the most comfortable grip I have ever found for a mouse, and that's why I actually own 2 of these, and it's so easy to use for hours on end. Plus, because we have multiple systems here, it's actually got one click to go and switch between 3 different computers, which is so convenient because I don't have to have a KVM. So now that I talked about my mouse choice, let's talk about my keyboard, because this thing's pretty special. See, this right here is the Keychron Q1HE. And it's a 10 keyless keyboard that may not look like anything too special, but it uses Hall effect switches that feel amazing, but are also incredibly customizable. Because Hall effect switches allow you to actually customize not only the actuation point, but also the distance traveled to register a keystroke, which allows you to customize your typing experience to exactly how you want it. Which has honestly gotten me more excited about this keyboard than any other I've ever tested. And another thing that's pretty cool about it is because we do have multiple computers, with the click of a switch, you can actually switch between 3 different devices, which is gonna be a perfect matchup with that mouse. So now that we got our mouse and keyboard figured out, let's talk headset. which for that is also going to be a little bit of a controversial choice. These are the Sennheiser HD 560s, and although they're not a gaming headset, I've been using them for gaming and video editing for the past year, and I gotta say they're some of the most comfortable headphones I've ever used. They feel like they're almost not even there half the time. Plus there's the fact that they are open back, which gives you a really wide soundstage, so if you are listening to audio or playing games, it gives you a really good surround experience. So if you're wondering if I'm just gonna leave these on the desk, well, no, I actually have a better solution for that, or at least Vernal does. See, their desk legs actually come with this little piece of metal. It's nothing too fancy, but it's actually really cool, because if you just go ahead and just pinch it together, there's a little gap here in the legs that's perfectly cut out for it, which gives you a nice little hanger that you can put your headphones on. Super cool. And something I just realized is how nice it is to have a big desk like this, because honestly, look at all this room we still have for different ideas and just ways to grow the actual setup. And I think we're gonna need a bigger monitor. And of course, no desk setup is complete without a chair, and this is the Audiful M6 Ultra, and it is one of the coolest chairs out there on the market. Because not only is it super comfortable, but it's got these crazy 4D armrests, a fully adjustable headrest, great lumbar support for sitting all day, and because of all the computers and lights inside my office, it gets really hot here, so what I love about it is if you click this button right here, it turns on a fan in the seat cushion to cool you down. And in the wintertime, when it does get cold, you can press this button and it'll actually turn on heating coils. And when you have those really long editing or gaming sessions, you press this button here and it actually turns on a vibration motor in the back cushion to give you a nice little massage. This chair literally has everything you could ask for and more. And just like that, our desk setup is pretty much done at this point. We got both of our PCs hooked up to our one monitor. We have our test bench over here on the side that we can hook up later whenever we need it. We got our peripherals, which are pretty sweet, including our Logitech mouse, our Keychron keyboard, and this beautiful Gutsy 8 mouse pad, our Audiful M6 Ultra chair, and then of course the Vernal desk, which honestly has been the perfect thing to build this around. I mean, not only does it give me a ton of room with this huge size, which you can get smaller ones if you don't want something this large, but the ability to add on something like this CPU holder is really nice because it makes a really clean way to add a second computer to your setup, or in my case, a third computer. And the entire experience with the desk is just super smooth. Everything just works really well, and I love the built-in cable management feature. And the thing that most standing desks really struggle with is when you have a lot of weight on them, the stability here is actually really good. Like there's practically almost no wobble to this desk, and the surface itself is super solid. And I gotta say, I just love how this setup turned out. It's exactly what I was going for. And although there is definitely some room for growth, including this wall, which I have something planned for, I'm just in love with how everything just worked out really well. Having the 3 computers all set up, having the monitor just really nice center stage, and it's all gonna be very user-friendly to actually swap things out, which is really what I liked. So if you wanna pick up one of the Vernal standing desks for yourself, there's a ton of options out there, and their website is really cool. They have all kinds of different options for sizes, as well as colors that you can choose from, and depending on what you need, they've probably got it for you, starting at about $389. So again, a huge thank you to Vernal for sponsoring this video and allowing me to actually build my dream desk setup. And if you guys wanna build one for yourself, I actually am gonna hook you guys up with a deal. If you actually wanna go ahead and pick one up, go ahead and use code YTMCS for 6% off, and the first 200 orders are not only gonna get a free desk mat, but they're also gonna get a solid wood storage tray worth $100. Which is pretty sweet. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe for more content like this, and I got a question for you guys. What should we do with this wall? It seems a little bare.